We're coming at you from the Graphic Artists Guild. If you're new to us, you may be familiar with our Pricing and Ethical Guidelines Handbook. The Guild is all about community and advocacy. Check out our calendar for monthly events. Right now, love is universal and design has the power to help people share it. In this panel, we'll explore how designers can use their creativity to foster a sense of community and connection. From creating visual campaigns to designing interactive experiences, our panelists will share their perspectives on how design can spread love in the world. Join us for a conversation on spread love through design. Now, here's Rebecca Blake. She's our advocacy liaison to make introductions. Hi, Rebecca. Goodbye.
Hi, Ed. I would love to introduce first Delaney West. Delaney West, Be Super Creative, is a marketing and brand development leader with over 30 years of experience. She's the founder of Be Super Creative and Chief of Business and Brand Development at Hollingsworth Seoul. Delaney has worked with multinational luxury brands, startups, and emerging solopreneurs. She is the first creative director for Black Girls Run and has received the Woman and Innovator of the Year Award by the International Girls Academy in 2023. Delaney encourages creative entrepreneurship and advocates for pursuing innovative ideas. She is also an at-large board member of the Graphic Artists Guild. Hello, Delaney.
Hey, Rebecca. Good to be here.
So the next person I would like to introduce is Doug Berger. Doug Berger is the co-founder and CEO of Remix, the branding agency. He collaborates with brands of all sizes, helping them align their goals and objectives with customer expectations. Throughout his career, he has worked with clients from around the globe. As a world-renowned designer and speaker, Doug has received numerous awards, such as the Addy Awards, Telly Awards, Summit Awards, Communicator Awards, and many others. His work has been published in prestigious publications like GDUSA and Communications Arts. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And our last panelist is Andrea Arroyo. Andrea is a celebrated artist skilled in illustration, painting, and public art with 54 solo exhibitions and 2,000 plus group shows worldwide. Her work is featured in the prestigious publications like The New Yorker and The New York Times. She's the recipient of multiple awards. Her art is part of the renowned public collections such as the Smithsonian and the Library of Congress. Andrea has completed numerous commissions and is a curator, speaker, and activist. Catch her Goddesses and Warriors exhibition at the United Palace in New York City in June of 2023. Hello, Andrea.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Andrea, unfortunately, his camera's not working, but fortunately, we get to hear her voice. So let's get started on this lightning round panel on Spread Love Through Design, celebrating the power of design to connect people. I'd like to direct my first question to Doug. What design techniques or strategies have been most effective in promoting love and connection through design?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What design techniques or strategies have you used that have been most effective in promoting love and connection through design?
So with regard to love and connection, our mission at Remix is to actually serve community arts and nonprofit organizations in an effort to benefit society through branding and design. That said, our goal is to build bridges for these organizations with those who seek the connections they create. And really the way that we focus in terms of design is on our primary love language is basically giving, right? So especially to those who need it most. So whether it's creating or elevating a brand for a nonprofit, or even when it's like cooking a meal for my family, the love is in the giving. And so how does the design come into that? It's really just about the ethos of what we're attempting to accomplish, which is to just bridge that gap between those who need and those who can give.
Right, that's super, super. I'd love to know, Andrea, do you have any additional thoughts about that? What design techniques or strategies have you used to effectively promote love and connection?
Well, yes, I don't know if it's strategies or techniques, but I do know that for me, love is the only way to embark on the journey of life, basically.
Yes.
And I definitely agree about love being giving, but I also think that it is allowing ourselves to receive.
Yes.
And that comes in many different ways. And for me, basically, the practice of compassion and empathy is what allows me to see myself in quote unquote the other. And that's something that should not exist. Once we understand that we're brothers and sisters, that otherness doesn't really play a role.
Right.
So for me, basically, my art practices is hope in action and love in
Yeah.
action.
That's brilliant. Delaney, can you speak to the role of storytelling in designing messages of love and connection?
Yeah, plays a crucial role. You know, we are using our skills to tell stories that evoke emotions and resonate with our audience, and call them to action. In my work, developing products and marketing those products, I'm calling them to action to do something, right? Usually to buy, to vote, to support, to exercise, and to do that, our work needs to hit that serotonin like button in their brain. And so, we know stories have the power to humanize experiences, highlight commonalities, and bridge differences, fostering empathy and understanding, in communities. And stories are relatable and sticky, right? You remember them instead of bullet points. You're going to remember a story.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Doug, do you want to add anything to that? I know in your work, you do engage in communicating stories.
Well, so how can I put this? So we don't necessarily speak of love in a direct fashion. However, verbal and visual storytelling is how we create. I can't stress enough that bridge or conduit which connects all of us. So this isn't, of course, limited to branding. In any circumstance, it's intrinsically important to craft language that resonates with your audience so you can effectively communicate, especially when communicating the ideas of love and connectivity.
Yeah, super. Andrea, in what ways can designers use design to help create more inclusive and welcoming communities? When I see your artwork, I immediately thought of this question for you.
Well, yes. I mean, artists, designers, everyone who's creative. Um, Artists are powerful truth tellers. So, and they have immense courage, to create worlds that doesn't exist. So that in itself is quite revolutionary. So I think we can use our art to engage communities, to create work that generates a dialogue about important issues that we need to discuss. And something super, super important, not only as designers or artists or myself as a curator, is actually to bring diverse voices to every sector of society. And that, of course, includes the art world and art audiences as well. So the idea is for me to always uplift the work of our, BIPOC artists, colleagues, and curators, and the audiences as well.
Delaney, I'm sure you've got some thoughts to add to that.
Yeah, it's about moving with empathy, and it's also about doing the self work to be able to do the work that we do, because if you can't embody the principles of love in your work, you're not going to have a good output. So that work that we have to do to kind of to cleanse our palate, like we have to get in that space to do this work, but we have to approach this with a thought about making sure that our work is inclusive, that it's accessible to all, regardless of your abilities, your cultures, your background. And you got to do that. You got to be curious, and you can't be afraid to do the research, and you can't miss the critique. You got to get that feedback on what you're doing, and you got to ask them. I start out by saying, "What do you hate about this?" So all of those processes lead us to be able to do that work with love.
Yeah. So I'd like to have this last question to go to each one of you on the panel. If you can make your comment brief, but I think you're all going to have a lot of value to bring to this. Can each of you describe an example of a project where design was used to create a strong emotional connection with the target audience, promoting love and positivity? Why don't you go first, Delaney? You're nodding your head.
I mean, this is an easy one. The smiley face. No, can I take that back? I want to say the I Love New York logo by Milton Glaser, because it was just changed, right? And people hated it so much, right? So the original logo has been doing all the things since 1976. That's pretty effective design. So
Yep.
Do we agree? No?
Exactly. How about you, Doug? You got a good example?
Oh gosh. So I'm such a visual person, and you're asking me to be verbal, and I'm not even sure where to begin. So like I mentioned previously, my agency is rooted in giving back, and so we've worked with local organizations like the Zebra Coalition, which here in Orlando, it's a nonprofit created to assist displaced LGBTQ+ youth. And there is another one called Righteous Roots, a nonprofit that primarily assists people of color with education and nutrition and occupational assistance. I mean, really, the list goes on in terms of how we create these emotional connections with the target audiences, promoting love. It's just about forwarding ways of being able to give where you can.
Yeah. Andrea, what project would you like to share with us?
Well, I have an ongoing series titled Art as Solidarity, and it's images inspired by social justice issues, race, gender, immigration, environment. And these images are published once a week in the US and some places abroad. And it became a large-scale public art exhibit presented at 3 institutions in New York City: the Hispanic Museum, the Jumel Museum, and the United Palace. And public art, and especially these images that were blown up in a pretty large scale, engages and serves a much larger community than your usual, museum and gallery and even, publication audience. So the project, it's been amazing. It keeps generating a wonderful response, and it really, I think, creates a space for dialogue about issues that are relevant at the local and even the global levels. And I think this empowers communities and creates long-lasting connections. So yes. I truly believe of these kinds of things, bringing art and design to, the broader community is very, very important.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So I think the takeaway I've got from this discussion is the key role that designers play in creating spaces where communities can meet and resolve differences, connect with one another. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We'll sign that.
We'll sign that. That's wonderful. This was a great panel discussion. I want to thank all of you for joining us for Spread Love Through Design. For International Day of Design. Who brought cake? For everybody who is watching, we are going to be ending with our last panel on design. That's going to be starting at 12:20. Delaney, Doug, and Andrea, thank you so much. I hope we can continue to have these discussions going forward. This is brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.